We'll begin with Kashmir. 2 years back on this day, India revoked Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir, a decision that put Kashmir at par with the rest of the country, a decision that put Kashmiris at par with the rest of Indians. India had every right to do so, it justified its need to do so, and yet there was an outpouring of rage aimed at India. I'm sure most of you will recall how the days that followed India's Kashmir decision were dominated by sensational headlines in the Western press, like commentary and reportage that was not only misleading but indulged in fear-mongering. There were a lot of predictions, a lot of prophecies on how this move would spell doom in Kashmir. 2 years on, have any of these prophecies come true? The Independent, a British daily, carried this headline, "The worst is yet to come," it said. This was on the 7th of August, 2019. 2 years on, what's left to come? Perhaps an admission of their bias. The CNN carried this headline, "New violence feared in old flashpoint. 2 years on, where is the violence?" Then we have The Guardian. It had this to say, "India's cancellation of Kashmir's special status will have consequences." The report suggested that more and more Kashmiri youth will now pick up arms. 2 years later, radicalization is on the decline in the valley. And then we have the Washington Post, which carried this headline, "The Kashmir crisis is not about territory, it's about a Hindu victory over Islam." The story suggested that India will convert Kashmir into a Hindu state. 2 years on, what happened to their prophecy? What happened to all these predictions? To all the theories that foresaw a doomsday in Kashmir? Today, as we look back, not only do these headlines undermine the credibility the Western media organizations hold so dearly, they also expose their prejudice and bias against India. Even now, their reports paint a grim picture of the existing situation in the valley. But here's something they will not tell you. India has proven its critics wrong. They warned of unrest and violence, but the security situation in Kashmir is better than before. And we'll go by data tonight, not rhetoric, to make this point. The number of law and order incidents in Kashmir has dropped drastically. Between 2017 and 2019, almost 1,400 incidents were registered. From August 2019 to July 2021, only 382 incidents have been registered. There has been a downturn in terror incidents too. Between 2017 and 2019, almost 700 terror-related incidents were reported. After the revocation of Article 370, only 350 such incidents have been reported. Terror recruitment too has fallen in the valley. In 2020, 167 Kashmiri youth joined terror ranks. In 2021, 73. That's a more than 50% decline. They say there will be no space for dialogue. That's what they said, that India will convert Kashmir into a Hindu state. Look at these images on your screen. 24th of June, all major political leaders from Kashmir met the Prime Minister in New Delhi. This included 4 former Chief Ministers of Kashmir and representatives from almost every major political party. They discussed the future political course of action in the region, including statehood and elections. The critics also said that things won't be the same again, that there will be persistent unrest and little normalcy. Let me show you another image. Actor Amir Khan with Manoj Sinha, the Lieutenant Governor of Kashmir. They met a few days back to discuss ways to revive Kashmir's glory in Bollywood. And today the Lieutenant Governor launched the Jammu and Kashmir Film Policy, a concept that aims to promote local art and talent on a national scale through films and documentaries. It offers Kashmir's youth a chance to work in the Indian film industry. Will the Western media cover any of these developments? Or will they only feature stories that propagate fear and prejudice? We have a pattern here, you see. India gets bad international press, and Pakistan, which is the root cause of most problems in Kashmir, is provided space to push its agenda and propaganda. Let me tell you how this nexus operates. The global Kashmir narrative is largely controlled by a set of US and UK-based Kashmiri activists, so-called activists. Most of them happen to be linked to the ISI and some also to the current US administration. In the US, there's an organization called the Kashmiri American Council. It's a murky organization that is said to be central to pursuing Pakistan's Kashmir agenda. Its members are behind several anti-India op-eds that you see in Western newspapers. The council was founded in 1990 by this man, Ghulam Nabi Fai, an American citizen of Kashmiri origin. In 2011, Fai was arrested by America's Federal Bureau of Investigation, or FBI, for receiving funds from Pakistan's rogue spy agency. He was later released, and since then he's been ramping up propaganda on Kashmir. Now look at this image. September 2019, barely a month after India revoked Article 370, Ghulam Nabi Fai attended a meeting with Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan, a convicted ISI agent, openly meeting with the country's Prime Minister. What for? To diplomatically corner India on Kashmir, or try to do so at least. Here's something else you must know. The director of this body, the Kashmiri American Council, is Yusuf Fazili. Mr. Fazili is the father of Samira Fazili, a deputy assistant to the US president, and the deputy director of Biden's National Economic Council. Of course, her father's actions have no bearing on her professional record. But ISI agent Yusuf Fazili is also the father of Yusra Fazili, an American human rights lawyer who in November 2019 testified at a US congressional hearing on the revocation of the special status of Jammu and Kashmir. The fact that such hearings occur in the US is itself reprehensible. The inclusion of somebody linked to Pakistan's spy agency is worse. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, a rally was held in Islamabad today. They called it a solidarity walk for Kashmir, attended by the topmost leaders in the country, the foreign minister, the information and broadcasting minister, the interior minister. The prime minister was not present at this rally. He was busy tweeting on Kashmir, busy putting out arguments that are so ironical they make you laugh. One of his tweets said this: India is destroying regional stability through its rogue actions and state-sponsored terrorism in contravention of all international laws and norms. Focus on the words used: rogue action, state-sponsored terror and contravention of international law. I mean, who is Pakistan kidding here? Let me say this once again. 2 years since Article 370 was revoked, Kashmir is marching to the tune of progress. The doomsday predictions and prophecies have proven wrong, and the nexus to defame India on Kashmir appears clearer than ever. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.